You know we had to talk about it. Recapping the drama and reviewing the chaos, one episode at a time. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Reality Recap and Reviews. Let's get into it. Episode 13 and 14 of Love Island USA Season 8. So the episode picks up with Aniyah leaving a conversation in soul ties with KC. They get absolutely no resolution on their issues, and I think it's entirely Aniyah's fault. Because I feel like she just refuses to hear his side, and she refuses to really listen to what people are saying to her about KC maybe exploring soul, or in the past thought about pulling soul for a chat and exploring soul for a chat. So she goes with Trinity, and I think she wanted to, but I think she wanted to talk to Trinity for Trinity to give her like her honest opinion. I think that Trinity's non-biased opinion on situations is really valued in the villa. I know a lot of people talk to Aniyah and vent to her, but I don't think Aniyah really gives them any type of advice. Whereas to me, Trinity will put out there what it is, right? This is what he has an issue with, or this is what's going on here, this is what's going on here, and this is what the truth is. And again, I think that's what Aniyah was going for when she's speaking to Trinity. So she's running down what's been going on in Soul Ties with the conversation with KC. And Trinity is like, listen, he chose not to explore soul because he wants to be with you. He has put in the effort with you to show you that he wants to be with you. She's like, oh, well, I understand. And I'm just like, when it comes to Aniyah, I feel like in this situation, there's been plenty of people, including Trinity, that has been telling her, even though he wanted to explore, he had an idea to explore soul, that she was not worth what you and him have, right? You had Kayda, you had Zach, you have Trinity, you have KC himself saying that to her. It's in her head. So what she did was she moved the goalpost on being angry with him. She refused to let it go. She wants to be the victim in the situation, and she wants KC to be the villain, and she wants KC to grovel and apologize. But KC is standing his ground. So what does she do now that she kind of accepts the fact that he doesn't really want to talk to Soul? Now her problem with KC is, oh, he's not being serious when I just want to have a 5-minute conversation. And he just doesn't want to be serious when a 5-minute conversation. Is that particularly a major issue that you keep pushing on and on and on and on? Okay, in the beginning of the conversation, he wasn't serious. Let it go. He apologized and he got serious in the conversation. You dragging along is really annoying to watch. It really is. And quite frankly, from that, I think you should leave. I don't think you're ready to be on Love Island, because Love Island's about exploring. There's many people who explore so many people, and there's people who explore 1 or 2 people, and that's perfectly fine. And for someone to sit there and pull Corbin for a chat when Corbin came in and tell him that you and KC are open, why are you so upset? Because he had the thought of pulling Soul. He didn't do it. He thought about it. It's insane. So now we get KC talking to Bryce and Zach about what went down in conversation with Aniyah in Soul Ties. And he's like, listen, like, she just refused to listen to what I have to say. She refused to understand that she is my number one, and that Soul was never really something he wanted to go with, explore or talk to or pull for a chat, whatever you want to say. Like, she was more worth it. And he's like, she's kind of like pissing him off because she doesn't want to see who he is. Yeah, he has a serious side, but that's not where he likes to move. He likes to move more in the positive, laughter, in funny ways. You get what I'm saying? So Zach and Bryce is talking to him about, like, well, are you interested in soul? All this other jazz. And as he's having the conversation with Bryce and Zach, I'm getting really upset because I feel like Bryce and Zach are not the people to have this type of conversation with. Maybe Corbin, maybe Sincere. I don't know about Sincere, but maybe Corbin or somebody else, because there's something malicious about Zach and how when someone is having a conversation with him, he takes that information and then he messes with people's minds and feelings during the game. So I'm not here for the fact that Casey is having this conversation with him at all. So after that, after they have their conversation, they cut to Aniyah in her confessional. She's like, "Oh my God, I just would love to get into Casey's head to see what he's thinking." Girl, he already told you what he was thinking. You just refuse to listen. We need to get into your brain and why you just can't accept what he's saying, what everybody else is saying. Like, girl, you are bugging and you really need to let this go before you lose him. Because at the end of the day, you guys are not girlfriend and boyfriend. If he wants to go explore, he can, and so can you. See, the reason why you're not exploring is because nobody else in the villa wants you. That is the issue. Because I feel like if somebody gave you somewhat of an interest, this would not be a problem. And another thing too, stop saying you don't care that he explored Soul because you did. Because when he was having a conversation with Soul, you pulled him from the conversation. Not because you want to have a conversation with him, because you were jealous that he was talking to Soul. So cut it out. Cut it out. So everybody's getting ready for bed. You got Kayda and Melanie in the dressing room, makeup room, whatever you want to call it. And Melanie is telling Kayda about the conversation that she had with Sincere in the speakeasy, how he misses her. He's going to make it up to her, all this other jazz. Now, as she's saying this to him, saying this to Kayda, here comes Soul coming into the room. They kind of end the conversation. And I'm like, that is just the one way that somebody who stumbles on a conversation when you're quiet like that, that they know that you're talking about them. So Soul conducts what she has to do. She take her makeup off, wrap her hair, get ready for bed, and she leaves. So now after all of this, everybody is getting ready for bed. Oh, but we do get a conversation with Kenzie. I forgot who she was talking to, but she was like, "Oh, I'm tired of the threesome." And I'm like, "Girl, no, you're not. You like the attention because you want to get one up on every other girl in this villa. You want to be the one to be the most desirable. So please cut it out. Okay, just cut it out." So now we get hold on, y'all. I'm thirsty. I'm already dry mouth. Ain't that something? So we get Zach and Bryce in the bed, and Trinity comes in. She's like, "Get the out of my bed." And I'm like, "Yo, I don't know what's going on with Zach and Bryce. I don't know if it's heightened by editing, but this little thing that Bryce and Zach got going on is very concerning to me, and I am surprised that Trinity hasn't said anything to Bryce because it's seen too much. It really is. Or even Kayda and Trinity having a conversation. Maybe they did have a conversation and Love Island doesn't want to show us, but I'm sorry. Them doing this stuff and really an allegation of them being gay or them being into each other is just, I ain't with it. So everybody's going to sleep. The lights come out, the lights turn out, and it feels like everybody is making out. You got Melanie and Corbin making out. You got Sincere and Soul making out. FYI, you did all that spiel with Melanie, but then you went back in the bed to make out with Soul. Sincere, please. Okay? You got Kenzie and Caleb. I don't know what the hell they was doing. He's probably DJing her again. You got Trinity and Bryce making out. Of course, Aniyah and KC weren't doing anything, but then you got Jen and Gabriel. They focused on Jen and Gabriel, and what did they do? They started in the bed. I don't know how anybody decides to screw with so many other people around them. I mean, Jen says she doesn't care, but it's like, really? Like, girl, you on camera. You on camera. Like, you don't have no limits? You don't care, like, I mean, you're not supposed to care what people think, but really, girl, like, seriously? Like, you don't got no type of limit? All right, all right. So now we get the next day. The girls are getting ready. The guys are making food. Corbin decides that he wants to make pancakes for Melanie, but then he wants to make a small little pancake for Kenzie just to let him know that he's thinking of her. So he gives the food to Melanie, and then he says, "Oh, Kenzie, I made this little pancake for you," and she's all types of giddy, right? So now we get Kenzie and her new group Soul and Jen, and she's just, having a conversation. She's like, I really like Corbin. I really love that he gave me this pancake. I understand, pretty much that she understands that she's in in a couple with Caleb, but she just really thinks about Corbin a lot. So then Soul goes in and she said, me and Sincere are really good. He calls me like these little pet names, my beloved. And she's really into the couple with Sincere. And I'm saying to myself, girl, you about to get a rude awakening of what really Sincere really thinks about this relationship. Like, this man is really misleading her, and I feel so bad. But then Soul gets up and she walks away wherever she went. And then you get Kenzie with her microaggressive ass talking about, oh, I don't trust Soul, but I trust you. Let me tell you this. And I'm just saying to myself, like, why you don't trust her? It's always you three. Why you don't trust her? Why you don't trust her? You think she's going to tell Melanie what you said about what you and Corbin was doing? Her and Melanie really don't get along. So what makes you think she would have went and told her or any of the other girls? A lot of you guys oust her out. So what are we talking about? Did you talk about maybe because she's black and you think she'll be loyal to the black girl so she would tell her? Because that's what I'm getting here. And I think many people are catching that when you said that. So she tells Jen that her and Corbin, when they had their chat last night, that they were making out and they were going to focus on one another. I don't think it's a big secret to tell. I don't know. I'm over her, to be honest with you. But during the conversation, right, when Kenzie was talking about her, Caleb, and Corbin, and how, she's being pulled by both of them, and she's in this threesome and whatever. And then Soul refers to her as a chicken. And I'm like, you know what, Soul? You did a perfect description of her. She is a bird. She is a complete bird. Now, don't get me wrong. This is Love Island, and everybody is supposed to explore. But the way she goes about it is, to me personally, is not cute and is absolutely disgusting. And I'm just saying. So now we get Corbin and Melanie having a conversation. Y'all, I am parched, so forgive me, okay? So now we get a conversation with Melanie and Corbin, and he's catching up with her. He's like, how you feeling? She's like, I have to be honest with you. This morning, when you bought me breakfast and then you bought Kenzie that little cupcake, that hurt my feelings. And she said, I'm feeling really, really weird about this triangle. And he's like, listen, don't try to self-sabotage. Don't take that personal. You already know that I have feelings for her. I'm invested in this couple, but that's all I wanted to do, was just give her a little bit of reinsurance. Listen, Corbin, you are honest most of the time, but you telling this to Melanie, to me, you were not honest at all. Let's be real here. Remember the conversation that you had with Kenzie last night, that you two were going to focus on one another and keep it a secret. So cut it out. Okay? Just cut it out. And I think when he gave that pancake to Kenzie, I think right then and there, Melanie made her mind up that she was not going to pursue Corbin anymore. It was done. She does not want to be in another threesome, quad. I'm assuming it's a quad because it's Corbin, Kenzie, Caleb, and her. Like, she doesn't want to deal with that. She just wants to be one person and focus on their couple and getting to know each other. And she could clearly see that's not going to be when it comes to Corbin. So now we get Caleb and hold on, guys. So now we get Caleb and Kenzie in Soul Ties, right? And, they're having like cute little conversation. She says, she really enjoys talking to him and getting to know him. Which to me personally is a lie, because she doesn't give any effort to this guy at all. She's always focused on, what's Corbin doing? How come Corbin hasn't pulled her? Is Corbin with Melanie? Like, these are the things that's going through her head. throughout the day. I don't think she's thinking about Caleb at all. So they have this conversation. I'm not going to go through the whole conversation with them because frankly, I do not care when Kenzie's on the screen. I'm going to be really honest here. But in this conversation, they start talking about vision. And Caleb says to her, I have 2013 vision, right? And I think she said she had 2030 vision. And she's like, listen, like, there's no such thing. 2013 is not better than 2020 or 2030. He was like, I heard that it is. And she's like, listen. I went to nursing school. And I'm just saying, I didn't know. I think it's optometry. I think that's what the vision is called. I didn't know that was any type of subject when it comes to nursing school. That's a specialty. That's not something that they focus on in nursing school. You have to do that after fact when you decide you want to do a specific special program, whether it's optometry, cardiac, neurology, whatever it is, that's after the fact. In nursing school, they teach you the general stuff. So her saying that, she looked like an idiot. And I'm going to be very, very honest here. Her being a nurse to me is very concerning. The microaggressions that this girl does on this show is so concerning. And people like her should not be in the medical field. People who like her should not be in the medical field. They should not be in law enforcement, and they should not be in the government. But people like that tend to always go with those fields. And it's mind-boggling. Not only is she pretty much a Karen, she's a moron too. The fact that she thought she was going to convince somebody that just because she went to nursing school that she knows more than them. All right, girl. Okay. So now we get Sincere and Soul. They're in Say Less, and they're just having a conversation about where they are, and like he really is enjoying their relationship, or their not necessarily relationship, but their coupling. And she's like, well, what do you tell the guys about me? And he says, oh, that you're a breath of fresh air. And, that he's never been with a woman like her. She's very positive. She's an adult. She's a mature adult. And you could tell by him saying that he's never been in a relationship where it wasn't toxic. And she's super happy to be with him. She's excited to continue on the couple. But again, little does she know the conversation that he had with Melanie. I'm surprised she didn't ask him about that. I know it's really none of her business, but just to be kind of curious to say, how was the conversation with you and Melanie? Did everything get resolved? She didn't ask any of that. And I'm really shocked that she didn't. Because we all know how Sincere is. She's been in the villa quite some time to know the dishonesty that he throws out there when it comes to Melanie and her. So I'm shocked that she did that, right? So now, after that, we get Zach and Kayda having a conversation. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about their conversations. I don't give a damn about their conversations. So now we get Corbin and Kenzie. Here, another dumb blonde moment. So they're talking about white noise, and he's like, oh yeah, like beach sounds. And she's like, that's not white noise. White noise is and I'm like, another dumb blonde moment. Baby girl. Beach sounds, rain sounds, any type of nature sounds, along with TV static, are all considered white noise. It's a consistent sound to bring someone's, what can I say? Bring somebody's, not necessarily any energy down, but kind of to calm them so they can sleep. So pretty much, y'all forgive me, but pretty much to calm the voices in their head. Because that's me, you guys. Like for me, when I go to sleep, for some odd reason, once I hit my pillow, my head is just like, it just won't stop going. It just keeps going. Oh, you got to do this. Oh, you forgot to do this. Oh my God, you're not going to get enough sleep. And I never get to sleep. So white noise helps calm those voices in your head. Not that you're schizophrenic. It's just that your mind just keeps going. So again, you are incorrect, Miss Kenzie. Beach noise is considered a white noise. You might want to make sure and look up things before you make statements like that, because you don't come out looking smart at all. So after that, they get a text, there's going to be a recoupling. But what they have to do is whoever they want to couple up with, they have to write a letter. So everybody writes their letter, everybody separates. Some people are like, oh my God, I don't know what to say. Where's ChatGPT? And I'm like, this generation is a top failure. This generation doesn't read. This generation doesn't write. This generation doesn't even know how to tell time. And I'm talking about analog time, not time on a phone. What are the hands on the clock? What is the shorthand and the longhand? What's the difference between the two? They know nothing about that. And I feel so sad for them. And I kind of blame their parents too, because their parents are Gen Zs, not Gen Zs, Gen Xs. And they should have taught them that. I'm just saying. So now we get everybody getting ready for the coupling. Ariana comes in. Because it's been raining for the last couple of days, they are not able to sit at the fire pit. So they're standing over there by the couches, in between the couches and the kitchen, like in that little area. So let me break it down to you on what the couples were. We're not going to go through all of them because, no offense, I didn't care about most of their letters. Let's be real here. So we get Bryce and Trinity. They choose each other. We get Zach and Kayda. They obviously choose each other. Who else were they going to choose? We got Gabrielle and Jen. They choose each other. Again, who else were they going to choose? I did like the fact that Jen did throw a little Portuguese into her letter just to appreciate Gabriel, because we all know Gabriel has been a little insecure about his English, which is so crazy to me because I can understand every little thing that he says. But then again, I'm saying to myself, you're from New York, you're from the Bronx, you're around a lot of, Latin immigrants. So that's probably the reason why you can understand him. So maybe cut some other people a little bit slack. That's what I'm saying to myself, because I'm just like, I'm a little confused as why they just can't understand what he's saying. Or he thinks that we can't understand what he's saying. But I can understand him perfectly fine. Yeah, let's move on. So now we get Casey and Aniyah. I'm going to read what her letter was to him. So you could clearly see that Casey was nervous. Some people was like, oh my God, can he read? Yeah, he can read, but he was just a little nervous. Give him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But he in front of people, reading fucking letters. Everybody's not, secure in talking in front of people. Like, bring it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So Casey reads a letter from Aniyah, and she says that she's pretty much a princess in her fairy tale world waiting for her prince. And she says that Casey makes her feel beautiful, secure, and heard. And she's very, very comfortable with him, but she tends to overthink things that she shouldn't. And I'm like, girl, you are spot on. You are spot on. But she wrote this to him because she wants him to know how she really feels about him, because I guess out, her frustrations on what's been going on, she's not able to express this to her. So after that, then Aniyah reads her letter from him. And he says, they were a default couple, but over time they've built something beautiful. He said he wanted to say that he missed feeling connected to her since their little riff or tiff. He explains why he always laughs and he, and humorous. He said because his childhood wasn't like that. And you could tell once she read that, it clicked in her head. And I'm saying to myself, did you ever think to ask him that? Why he's always in that state of laughter and humor? Maybe because when he was a kid, it was torture. It wasn't good. There's reasons for certain things when it comes to people. You should ask. Okay? Sometimes it's not about you. It could be about that person themselves. I'm just saying, Aniyah. But he says he seems to not have okay, it says my issues is did they not wait, no, hold on. I think that's all it is. So that's all he had to say. They go sit down. I'm just reading my personal notes to say something, but that's all he had to say. And that's pretty much it. They just sit down. So now we get Zach and Kayda. I don't care what they have to say. Go sit down. So now we get Kenzie. And Ariana asks her to open up her mailbox. She gets 2 letters, one from Caleb and obviously one from Corbin. And when I tell you she is giddy and she is excited, you know why? Because she knows Corbin chose her over Melanie. That's all she was giddy about. Okay. She won up on Melanie. That's all this girl cares about in this recoupling. I'm just saying. So it says here, this is what Caleb's letter to her says. He says, Kenzie, you're not just only beautiful, but you have a beautiful, bubbly soul. And he really enjoyed getting to know her. I didn't really care too much about his letter to her because I think honestly it's a bunch of bullshit. I think she puts a facade on for Kayla, but that's not who she is. She is, to me, not a very good person, a very jealous person. And again, I'm not feeling her microaggressions. I'm just not. And everybody keeps talking about, oh, well, look at all these pictures with her and these black dudes. And so you're telling me how many white women out here like the black D, but they don't like black people, specifically black women? It's a tale as old as time. Hello? How do you think a lot of black people in America are 75 to 80% black and the rest of it is European? How do you think that? Because they were raping black women. They enjoyed having sex with us, but we were still N-words to them. We were still slaves. So please stop. Okay. So then we get Corbin's letter to Kenzie. Can I say this? I feel like even though it was a very quick letter, I felt like Caleb's letter was a little bit more in depth than Corbin's. Corbin's was just like, I love looking into your eyes and, I love being in a couple with you and getting to know each other. Every time I see you, you make my day feel brighter and heard. And the energy that she gives him pushes him even harder. That was the end of the letter. Nothing in that letter was personal to what Kenzie may have told him in a conversation with him. And you know why? Because they don't have conversations like that. All their conversation is wrapped around lust. Because I don't understand how you guys have been in the villa for over a week having conversations and you know nothing about this girl outside of her being a nurse and from Georgia. And vice versa. These two are ridiculous. I want them out of my freaking villa. So now we get Corbin. I think Corbin has to open up his. I should have said this prior. Corbin opens up Ariana. Let me come back. Before he read Kenzie's letter, Ariana asks Corbin to open up his mailbox because he's coupled up with Melanie. So, excuse me, when Corbin opens up his mailbox, it was only one letter. Did y'all see Kenzie's face when she realized it was only one letter in there and it wasn't Melanie? Ha, gotcha, bitch. Melly don't want his ass. She never wanted his ass. Ha. So all that stuff you was doing, all that shit talking you was doing, all this little sneaky stuff you was doing with Corbin was for nothing. Why? Because Melanie did not want him. She still wants Sincere. So when you thought you was getting your aha moment, she got hers. And I don't like Melanie, but I'm glad that she was able to give that moment to you. That aha moment. You deserve it. So now that Kenzie and Corbin are a couple, they go sit down. Ariana tells Caleb, since you didn't get no letter in the mailbox, you are single, have a seat. So now we get the threesome, the triangle we've all been waiting for. And that is Sincere, Soul, and Melanie. So Ariana asks Sincere, since you're coupled up with Soul and Melanie is still here and she did not give a letter to Corbin, let's see if she gave a letter to you. So he opens up his mailbox and he gets 2 letters. One from Soul and one from Melanie. So after that, Ariana says, Soul, please open your mailbox. When I tell you When she first came to Soul and she said, Soul, open your mailbox, I knew for a fact there was no motherfucking letter in that mailbox. And I knew that Sincere chose Melanie. And when she opened that mailbox up and there was no letter, I was like, I knew it. I freaking knew it. This man has been lying to this girl and it's disgusting. This has been leading her on for no reason. She looked so embarrassed and she looked hurt. Why? Because they had a conversation the night before and he said that he was going to talk to Melanie to pretty much end it. He's all in with her. And cheers. Cheers to the girls' weekend. He sat there and he said, let's cheer to prosperity, growth, and all that other bullshit, blowing smoke up this girl's ass, knowing he just wanted to still be with Melanie. So Ariana tells Soul, you can have a seat, you're single. So she says, Sincere, please read your letters. So this is Soul's letter to Sincere. She says, off first impression, she felt a magnetic connection with him. He calms her nervousness. He's thoughtful and kind, and she could see them being connected for a while. Surprise, you're no longer connected because he didn't choose you. He chose Melanie. So that just did not age well. You know what I'm saying? She says she's lucky that it all comes to her. She feels like she can give him her all. When I tell you, when he was reading this, he just like did not care. He did not care at all. And it's just like, what kind of person is Sincere to do that to someone else that you've been laying up, you've been kissing, you've been rubbing, the intimacy that these two have had throughout the last week, it just seems very real. So to have these moments with her, but when you were reading the letter and it was no expression, no sadness, no embarrassment, no nothing, it just speaks volumes to who you are as a person. And I don't like Sincere at all. I just don't. I don't. So then we get Melanie's. He reads Melanie's letter and she says she had no expectations coming into the villa. She just wanted to have fun until she met him. Right? She said when she met him, everything changed and she fell for him. She loves how he makes her feel and laugh. She loves getting to know him and his family. I think they have very similar backgrounds. Again, I thought he was like Black and Puerto Rican, but I think he's just Puerto Rican, and we all know that she's Dominican, right? Very similar cultures, even though they like to, have a little, Dominican and Puerto Ricans have their little disagreements. Their cultures are very similar. Let's be real here, right? So she says she can't wait to have their first date in a Philly park. I don't remember what the park was, but she's also been waiting to express herself about how she feels about him, and that's the end of her letter. What else do we have here? Then after that, it's Ariana says to Melanie, let's see if Sincere wrote a letter to you. She opens up her mailbox, and then this is why I don't like Melanie. She opens the mailbox and says, I got a letter. Obviously, you got a letter. He didn't write to Soul, bitch. What was the purpose of you saying that? See, Melanie does mean little things, and I feel like a lot of people are disregarding it. Melanie does a lot of things, mean little things to Soul, and it's unwarranted. It really is unwarranted. She talked to Sincere. She had an interest in Sincere, and Sincere reciprocated the feelings. It's not like she manipulated him and he fell for all of this and was doing all of this. He chose to explore with Soul. So how come you don't have that same energy with him that you have with her? It's disgusting. I cannot stand those little things that she does to her. It's very, very mean. And I'm telling you, she's going to get her karma, and Casa Amor might be it. I'm just saying. Right? So then this is what Sincere's letter is to Melanie. Can I say this? I'm tired of the riddles and analogies that Sincere has, because most of them just don't make sense. Because he's talking about, broken glass, water can seep through it or something like that. And I'm just like, oh God, what are you talking about? All you have to say is that, we had our ups and downs in the past. Let's start refresh and blah, blah, blah. Right? So this is also what he says in the letter. He said when he first walked into the villa and he saw her, he knew that she was home. When he said that, I'm assuming because they can relate to each other with very similar backgrounds, he automatically knew that she was either Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, or some sort of Afro, Latino, Brazilian, Costa Rican, Honduran, Belize, something where there's a high population of African Black people, right? He said that he misses her sweet smell and sweet touch. He can't wait to go on their Philly day, and he just wants to start fresh. They hug, they kiss, they go sit down. Then Ariana tells Caleb and Soul, can you please stand up? And she says, listen, this recoupling is not about, the negativity and dumping. It's about love. And you two are now a couple. Y'all can have a seat. And that ends the episode. Let me take a sip and we're going to get into episode 14. I'll see you guys there. All right, so episode 14 opens up after the recoupling. You got Soul and Caleb now in a new couple. They go off to have a conversation. Caleb's how are you doing? And she's like, I feel misled. I feel lied to. Sincere was speaking words into Soul, and she feels like it was all a crock of shit, and he was blowing smoke up her behind. She says, he likes to sit there and say to everyone that, he's honest and, he has good communication. And he usually gives a lot of advice to people, but he's none of the sort. He is the opposite. And she realized that he was blowing smoke up her ass, right? So then she asked him about, the whole situation between him, Corbin, and Kenzie. And he's a little upset because he thought that she was going to choose him because she has always said to him that she has more in common with him than she does with Corbin. And that is correct. That's all we see when she talks to Kayla. Oh, she really wants to explore him. They have a lot in common. But the thing is that she has not had sex in over a year. And Corbin is fulfilling her frustrations, or he's easing her frustrations. And that's why she's going to him. That is it. These two know nothing about each other. Does she know he's Blasian? Does she? The only thing I know that she knows is he's from Miami. He's played basketball and football. I think that's all she knows. Outside of that, nothing. But guess what? She does know about Caleb. He's from North Carolina. He's a cowboy. He moved to South Carolina. He's in the elevator field like Alandria, which is kind of crazy. What else does she knows a couple of things about him. But again, she chose Corbin out of lust. That's it. But then I said to myself, Caleb, you can't be that upset because to me, she showed in the last couple of days that you guys have been a couple, she has showed you that she has more interest in Corbin. It was to the point that you had to have a conversation with her and set boundaries and say that I'm not going to be in your back pocket. Like, we're not doing that over here. See, when it comes to Soul, Sincere, and Melanie, Sincere was a little more sneakier. He would tell them two different things behind closed doors. He wouldn't hang out with Soul and then hang out with Melanie. And this is after the recoupling. I'm not talking about prior to the recoupling because, baby, what he did to Melanie after he said he won't talk to Soul no more and he was in soul ties with her all day, diabolical. But this is after the recoupling. He focused more on Soul than Melanie. So I'm like, Caleb, were you really shocked? Were you really shocked or were you just more embarrassed? I think you were more embarrassed. We got to be honest here. So now we get Sincere and Melanie and Say Less. They're both excited. Yeah, and Say Less. And they're both excited. They're now back in a couple. They missed each other. She's like, you kept your word. I'm so happy. They were both happy they were able to express their likes for one another. I don't think necessarily is love, but their likes to one another. And, she says, are you going to continue to explore Soul? And he was like, no. She was like, are you sure? Because you said that before and you was in soul ties with Soul all month. Like, are you sure about that? He's like, listen, that's over with. It's going to take more than a pretty face to misdirect to you where I don't want to be with you. And I'm just like, Sincere, you are a total piece of shit. And I'm just going to say it. You are a piece of shit. The fact that you sat there in that kitchen and told Soul that you chose her and you want to be in a couple with her and you want to end things with Melanie. But in all actuality, you miss Melanie and every time you walk down the stairs and you didn't come to me, just like it hurt. I miss you so much. What is the Sincere, you are such a weak-minded people pleaser. I don't understand how you just can't be honest with your true feelings. You're so afraid to tell people the truth. How are you like that, but then you off to the side giving men advice? What? If I was a man, I wouldn't take your advice. You're full of shit. You're not honest. You're not honest with the women that you're seeing. So what makes you think that I'm gonna talk to you and you give me your honest opinion? Your opinion doesn't hold fucking water. I could tell you now, if I vote at the end, and that's a big if because these people getting on my damn nerves, I will not be voting for Melanie and Sincere. I don't like Melanie and I don't like Sincere at all. I don't like the way Melanie moves in the villa, and all the girls tagged her along they tag along with her little dogs, and isolated Soul on a lot of things to make her feel uncomfortable just because Sincere wanted to get to know Soul, and Sincere was lying to you. Soul don't owe you nothing, but instead of blaming Sincere, you blame Soul for all your heartbreak. Okay. Anyway. So now we get Kenzie and Corbin. They're excited to be in a couple again. She's like, oh my God, Caleb is pissed. And I'm like, girl, do you really give a fuck? Do you honestly care about this boy's feelings? Because I don't think you do. Again, in the last couple of days, you've been all over Corbin. You been getting mad with Corbin when Corbin wouldn't pull you. You got mad because Corbin asked you for a kiss on the cheek and you want a kiss on the lips, that he was prioritizing Melanie's feelings over you. Like, girl, this is all the things you were worried about. You weren't about Caleb. So do you really care that he's upset? I don't think so. But in the conversation, and you know what's so funny? I listened to it, but I didn't really fully pay attention to it until episode 15. Yes, I've watched all the episodes, guys. I've watched all of them. But up until episode 15, what Kenzie does. When Kenzie gets around not Caleb, Corbin, not necessarily the girls, but when she gets around Corbin, she puts on his black scent. Why? Just like remember when I told you guys when she was in her confessionals and she was talking about, oh, he speaks so well? Is it because you want to? Why are you doing a black scent? Are you trying to relate to him? There's no need for that. You're a white woman. It's clear as day you're a white woman. It's clear as day you have no hood in you at all. So why do you feel the need to talk like that? And let me tell you something. That's just not Kenzie. A lot of white people do that. It's weird. You can talk in a normal tone. When we're talking to you, we're speaking English. Accent is different from you guys because no offense, but black women, we don't talk like airheads like a lot of white women do. We can understand what you're saying. We all speak in the same language. We all come from the same country. You don't have to do that. This further approves her views on black people, her microaggressions. It's disgusting. I'm sorry. I just can't with her. I want her off my screen so bad. So now we get Casey and Aniyah, and they're doing their little roundup on what happened during the recoupling. And she's like, oh my God, I was nervous because I really wanted to express my feelings for you in the letter. You know, they know that they've been going through this tiff and pretty much they've been tired of the tiff. And, you know, she was feeling sad that she was making him sad because he was just going around. And I'm like, I don't think he was sad. I think he was more frustrated because she just wasn't listening to what he was saying. And I get it. And I ain't gonna lie to you guys, even though they decided to choose each other in a recoupling, I really think that KC has decided to explore other people. I think he's like, this woman, we keep having the same conversation over and over. She's not understanding my side. I think I'm going to remain open. She's still my number one, but I think now I'm not going to really consider her feelings. I'm going to consider mine's more. I really think that's what Casey's going to do. So now we get Caleb and Kenzie. Oh, God. So they get their conversation, and she apologizes. She didn't want. She apologizes to him on the way it went down, and I'm saying to myself, Kenzie, how the fuck do you think a recoupling goes down? Somebody's feelings are gonna get hurt. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Whether it was underneath the whatever that is, or it was the fire pit, it was America's choice or your choice, somebody was gonna get motherfucking hurt. What are you? I can't. I can't with her. I can't. I can't with this girl. She is one of the most frustrating outside of Huda. And even Huda had her moments where she was calm, but it was just like, girl, oh my God. Kenzie is she's just too much on my screen. And the way she speaks is like, it's like your fingers on a chalkboard. It's like, girl, shut up. Please be quiet. Please be quiet. But he says, it's my fault. He said, because, even though I had it good with you, I shouldn't have put all my eggs in one basket. I should have talked to other people. I should have pulled other people. And she's like, yeah, you should have pulled other people. But, she still apologizes on how things went down. That's the end of the conversation because I really don't care. So we get Zach and Kayda talking about their letter. Let's be real here. The reason why he chose Kayda, because he's waiting for Casa more. He does not want Kayda. And if he don't want the girls in Casa more, he wants Bryce. Okay? Okay. So then we get Gabrielle and Jen. He says to her, like, he was really nervous on writing the letter in English because, that is his third language. But so what he did was he wrote it in Portuguese and then he translated it into English, which I thought was nice and cute. That's in their conversation. And then you got Bryce and Trinity with the same old conversation. I'm really happy we chose each other. I'm happy for the journey, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. Now everybody is going to bed. So we get them getting ready for bed. Sincere is, as usual, in the bathroom area, and he's talking to the guys, and he's saying, he never wanted to commit to Soul. It was always Melanie. I honestly think Sincere is forgetting that he's on camera because the shit that comes out of his mouth is crazy. And I hope a lot of his conversations are going to be in movie night if they have a movie night. If not, he's going to look stupid at the reunion. I think he's going to look stupid regardless in reunion. It's going to be even worse if they don't have movie night because he got a lot of explaining to do because everything that come out his mouth is a lie. I'm just done. So now we get everybody in bed. Everybody's making out except for Soul, Caleb, Kayda, and Zach. When I tell you, I don't know what goes on with Gabrielle, and Jen, but these two do not care. There's people around them. When I tell you, she went under the covers and gave him slobby knobby. Girl, do you have parents? What do you think they're gonna think that you're doing that in the bed? Is it really that deep that you need to do that? You know y'all can go to Soul Ties and do that, right? Hmm? Y'all know y'all can go there and do all that, right? You know you don't have to be in the bed and doing all that. You know people in past seasons, when they wanted to be alone, they went into Soul Ties. Why y'all can't just do that and respect the people that you're laying next to? I can't. So now we get the next day. I don't know if y'all peeped that when their guys were giving the girls a breakfast, when it was time for Zach to give Kayda a kiss. Did y'all notice he gave the same kiss that he gave Kenzie in the first episode? That Zach does not want Kayda. Zach does not want Kayda. And I think he hasn't wanted Kayda in a very, 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 very long time. I think he got very bored with her. She came in as a bombshell, fire and hot, but then it quickly fizzled because that is not who she is. You get what I'm saying? Maybe she's more of a girls next door and he wasn't feeling that, or he stopped feeling it, but Zach does not want Kayda. He is waiting for Casa Amor, and I'm mad that he's gonna get a chance to be in Casa Amor. I'm annoyed. So we get Sincere talking to Corbin and Bryce, and he's trying to get their advice on how he can approach Soul and have the conversation with Soul. And Bryce is like, listen, all you need to be is 100% honest with this girl, because right now she's feeling betrayed and she's feeling hurt. And he stops that in, and then we get Soul and Jen having a conversation, and Jen is checking up on her, like, how are you feeling? How was not, how are you feeling about last night? And Soul was like, yo, this shit was all facade. He's a straight liar. He is not his name of none of the sort. He's been blowing smoke up my ass. And Jen is like, I'm so glad you're not with him. You dodged a bullet, because he pretty much is a piece of shit. She doesn't call him a piece of shit. She just calls him a liar, but she's happy that Soul is no longer in a relationship with him. And she was like, kiss my ass after I shit. And I was like, that's right, girl. That is right. He absolutely deserves it. So after that, we get let me just make sure I get this. So we get a conversation with Caleb and Zach at the fire pit, and he's checking on him, like, how are you feeling about last night? And he tells him, it was a little hurtful. I thought she was gonna pick me, but that's my fault as well, because I didn't explore other women. I didn't pull other women for chats. And Zach is like, yeah, you should absolutely be doing that now. Not only like are you in a couple with Soul, and you should definitely explore that. And you can see Soul walking past, but they like, oh yeah, she a beautiful woman, she got a nice body and stuff like that. He was like, you definitely need to pull the other woman. He's like, hell, you could pull Kayda too. And I'm just like, this man does not like fucking Kayda. It's crazy. It's crazy. He just shows it more and more and more. And I hope, and I hope, and I hope if they get movie night, they show that. I hope they show that. If not, this reunion is going to be good, because these separate conversations are freaking crazy. Crazy. Do you hear what I'm saying? So after that, Sincere decides to pull Soul, and this is the conversation that everybody wanted to see. So soon as they sit down, she goes in on him. She is like, you are dishonest. You are two-faced. You've been blowing smoke on my ass. You're dishonest. And she was like, I don't understand. If you felt some sort of way about Melanie, why didn't you not? Can tell you, when I thought she was throwing out motherfucking F-bombs at him and he was feeling some sort of way, too damn bad, because you lied to her. He couldn't even say anything as she was doing that. She said, all you had to do was fucking tell me. All you had to do was tell me. All you had to do was tell me. You don't think that she didn't realize that you still have feelings with Melanie? What dummy wouldn't know that? It's not like, you were coupled up with Melanie and then you guys were no longer in a couple, and then you've been in a couple with Soul for months and months and months and months. It's only been a couple of days. Whose feelings diminish like that? Nobody's. See, the thing is, Sincere, you're talking to an adult woman, and you didn't think you were going to talk to somebody like that. You thought maybe you were going to talk to someone like the way Melanie reacts or the way Melanie cares, and that's not who Soul is. And the way she was spitting facts to him, again, he couldn't say nothing. But then when he eventually, before I even get into that, when he finally does speak, right, he says, listen, my feelings were true for you. And I'm just like, but when you're talking to Melanie, you presented it as you didn't have feelings for her. This was just somebody you wanted to explore. You see what I'm saying? How he just he's not honest in a word. Everything that he says, he gives very little surface little things, little tiny little nuggets to satisfy someone, but it's not his true feelings. It's not his true thoughts. I cannot stand him. I can't stand him. He's such a fucking liar. But after he says that he was, my feelings were true, he said, but you putting all the blame on me. He said, what about you? You ain't no angel. Excuse me? Are you trying to blame her? She's like, what have I done to you? What have I done to you in this situation? Yeah, I'm not perfect, but explain to me what was my fault in this situation. He could not give her one because she did not do anything. And Sincere does not take any accountability for what he has done to Soul, and it is fucked up. But she ends the conversation. She's like, you know what, we cool. Bumps fists with him and walks away, and he walks away talking about, oh well, I didn't that's not how I thought that was gonna go. What did you think? What did you think that conversation was gonna go? How did you think that conversation was gonna go? You thought she was like, oh, it's okay, it's okay, I know that you and Melanie have feelings together. No, no, not at all. You've crossed the right person where she had to throw what you were doing in your fucking face and tell it like it is. You are a liar. You are not an insincere person. And I'm glad she did that because you deserved it. You absolutely deserved it. So after this conversation, we get Sincere and Melanie. They're in soul ties, and he's telling her about the conversation, and he was like, yeah, just had the conversation with Soul, and pretty much she was angry. She was throwing all kinds of F-bombs. So what? So what? That's what you mad about? Because she said fucking, 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 fucking? That's what you mad about, little boy? That she used the F word? Oh my God. Oh, oh, oh. Call the police. An angry girl from a man misleading her. She used the F word. Oh my God, call the police. Melanie said, listen, I understand her. I understand how she feels because he did similar things to Melanie. Remember, I said it earlier in this video. He told her straight up he wasn't explore Soul anymore and took her ass to Soul Ties and spoke to her all day. So she gets the hurt and she understands the feelings of Soul. Anyway, after that conversation, right, we get Soul and Jen. She gives a recap on, the conversation that she had with Sincere. Both her and Jen are at the docks. Jen can't believe what he was saying. She's like, oh, fuck him and all this other crap. But that's honestly let me be really honest with you guys. A lot of these conversations are to me a little too long, a little too draggy, and quite frankly, I don't care. So that was what Soul did with Jen, just giving her pretty much a brief recap. So now we get Bryce and Trinity, and they in Say Less. They're having their little cute little conversations. He's telling her about his life. He's saying, I used to play the trombone. And she's like, really? You played the trombone? He's like, yeah. She's like, well, where is it? And he's like, it's in Vegas with his stepfather. So we know that he pretty much, had a relationship with his stepfather. I'm not too sure about anything about his mother. Not sure if they're still married, but it looks like that he has a good relationship again with his stepfather. So then he also goes further into his DJing career. He's like, listen, I got to get you onto the house music. And she's like, well, how you get, how do you do the music? How do you do DJ? Like how long it took you to become a really good DJ? He said it only took a couple of months. He said a lot of DJs, create their own music. She is absolutely fascinated. And honestly, that's the end of their conversation. So now we get Soul and Caleb touching base with one another, checking up on one another. And, she just tells him about the conversation. And, he tells about his conversation, but then he goes a little further more into them. And he says, what is your type? And she's like, oh, I like a guy that's honest and funny. But if you notice, she doesn't tell him her physical type. Why? Because her physical type is melanin and Caleb is white. And so it cuts to her. She's like, Caleb, he's really sweet, like apple pie. I'm not really into apple pie, but maybe he's more of a honey crisp. Maybe I'll try a honey crisp. And I'm like, girl, no the fuck you not. No the fuck you not. Girl, you prefer pecan pie, sweet potato pie, and maybe some flan. That's what you prefer. You don't want no apple pie, girl. And it's okay. Everybody has their preferences. You know what I'm saying? Just stick in a couple with Caleb until a bombshell comes in that's maybe of your interest or costs some more, and just make sure that you and Caleb have that understanding. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So now we get nighttime and we get Bryce, Casey, and Soul having a conversation on the couches. And, Casey and Bryce are checking up on Soul because, they have some empathy for her. And, she's like, listen, when I first came in here, maybe I came here a little too late, but a lot of you guys are very closed off. Sincere was the only one that was open to get to know me. And that's where, she went. And she said she felt isolated from everybody. And then KC goes to her. He's like, well, what exactly do you want? And Bryce is like, she wants to feel wanted. And they just have like a really good laugh. She's like, yeah, thank you, Bryce. Like, thank you so much for pointing it out. Like, that is what I'm looking for. Just some acceptance and just, and feel wanted. And not necessarily in a sexual way, but even with the girls to feel like, hey, come on, you're the new girl. Let's hang out. Let's be in a group or whatever. She didn't feel like that. She just felt isolated because she was a quote unquote threat to Sincere and Melanie. And everybody followed suit with Melanie and decided to isolate her out and block her out. They didn't do it to Jen, but they did it to Soul, which is crazy. So after that, then there gets an announcement. Ariana walks through the door and tells everybody, get to the fire pit. So everybody's at the fire pit and she announces and she tells them, America has been voting. And America has been voting for their favorite couple. And everybody is shitting bricks. Everybody is shitting bricks. So then she runs down in no particular order who are the top 4 favorites. And then the top 3 will be up for being dumped. So the couples that we have in the top number 4, we have Trinity and Bryce. We have Casey and Aniyah. We have Sincere and Melanie. And then we have Zach and Kayda. Those are the top 4. And the 3 bottom, we have Kenzie and Corbin. We have Soul and Caleb, which is weird to me. I thought they would be in the top because I know I voted for them. And then you have Gabrielle and Jen. Those are the 3. So now Ariana gives a little twist and says, these are the bottom couples. But a boy and a girl is going to be dumped, and y'all have to choose who's going to be dumped. The girls have to choose a guy. The boys have to choose a girl. They're all like, oh, and so was America. Because America thought it was our choice who we was going to dump. Because everybody wanted Kenzie out. We don't give a damn what happens to Corbin, honey. But we want Kenzie out. And production threw a wrench in there because they want the drama that comes along with Kenzie. And that's why they threw that wrench in there. And I can tell you now, they're going to continue to do it. Y'all remember last season when Huda was up for elimination and we all got excited because everybody was tired of her ass? But then when it came down to it, most everybody stood behind her and not Jalen. But then Ace later on and said that his vote was pushed by production. Same thing here when it comes to Kenzie. Best to believe it. So the girls on one side, the guys on the other. The girls are discussing who they want to get rid of. They absolutely don't want to get rid of Corbin because he has this relationship with Kenzie. So it's up to Gabrielle and Caleb. Aniyah and Kenzie feel like they should not be Caleb because they think that Kenzie did him dirty and he deserves a second chance. Trinity and Melanie feel like he had his chance. Gabrielle and Jen are in a couple. Caleb is really not in a real couple. He just got coupled with Soul. They think that he should go home. They're having a tough time, but they decide to do the vote. One for Caleb, 2 for Gabrielle. So they do 1, 2. Trinity and Melanie chooses Caleb, and Kayda, I don't know who I said before, but Kayda and Aniyah chooses Gabrielle. So that ends their debate or us seeing their debate. Now we get the guy side. And I was shocked that this conversation started off for Kenzie to go home. And I was like, oh my God, Kenzie about to go home. They was like, listen, Kenzie has been with several different men in this villa, and she's made no real connection to these men. It's only been pure lust. She's been lusting after these men, not trying to make any true connection. She should be the one to go home. I was shocked that Sincere did not throw Soul's name in there from what we saw, right? Then we got Zach talking to, when Soul's name did come up, Zach was telling to KC, like, listen, like, she hasn't had a connection, or if we keep her, are you going to explore her? Are you going to explore her? And he says, yeah, I might explore her. When it comes to who else was there, Jen, they really didn't have anything for Jen. I think they were just either way. It could go, like, she could go or not. I think it was really between Soul and Kenzie. So after their discussions and their debate on who should go, it all comes back from commercial. Sincere stands up to let us know who is going home. When he stood up to let us know who was going home, I already knew it was going to be Soul. Production, I don't know if that was you, or I don't know if it was the boys, but that was some slick, messed up shit. So when he got up and he said that Soul was leaving the house, I thought that was so rude. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I thought Sincere was throwing out Soul to go home because she cursed his ass out, and she made him accountable for the actions that he had for the last couple of days. This is my personal thought. I thought that he put her name out there because he didn't want to see her in the villa anymore, because he would see all the wrongs that he did to her, because he knows that she did nothing wrong to him. And he would just continue to be annoyed and guilty because she's in the house. But apparently from what we saw, that's not what the case was, which I was shocked. But anyway, Soul is going home. Now it's time for the girls. Oh, by the way, I didn't say this. So when they were having a discussion about Caleb and Gabrielle, the girls' reasoning for Gabrielle to go home is because they feel like no matter who comes into this villa and he wants to explore, they're not going to be enough for him. And I'm like, ain't that the point of the whole damn show? Is to explore. That's what Gabrielle is doing. Right now, he's in a couple with Jen, and that's who he's exploring. What is the problem? But that was their reason. They pretty much think he's an F-boy. So Melanie stands up, and she lets everybody know that they're sending Gabriel home. When I tell you the guys were pissed, they were shocked. They were pissed. They were like, what? Gabrielle? Why would you choose Gabrielle to go home? Ariana says, okay, you guys chose. The other people, y'all can have a seat. Unfortunately, you guys have been dumped from the villa. So do you have any thoughts? And she said, honestly, she didn't have a good time in the villa. She felt like when she walked in, maybe it was too late, but everybody was closed off. Nobody wanted to get to know the new bombshells. And she's happy. She's like, thank you for, putting me out of my misery. And that is the end. Oh, before that, she says, this is not Love Island. This is Couples Island. And then the episode ends there. I hope you guys liked this review. Sorry, I got my cup. I'm very, very parched. But that's the end of this review. You guys let me know of your thoughts on what's been going on. Let me know in the comment section. Like the video if you liked, and subscribe if you would like to subscribe. And I'll see you guys in episode 15. That's your dose of drama for this week's reality report. The show may end, but the drama never. Catch you next time for more chaos, more tea, and more reality.